Welcome you all again. Uh, Ma'am, can we start the session 2? Hello.
Okay, so my screen is visible.
Yeah, ma'am, your screen is visible.
Okay, so now from next class onward, we are going to start with the specific part of your machine learning. So first we will cover the supervised learning part, and then we will move for your unsupervised one. And in your supervised, so first we will go through your regression, and next we will go for your classification. So this is the outline for this presentation. So first we are going to cover this what this supervised learning is in little bit more detail, and next we will go for the regression case study related to your regression analysis, and next we will in this particular presentation we are going to cover simple linear regression, and in the coming presentation we will cover this multiple linear regression and your polynomial regression. So, but for now it's just simple linear regression. So what we have covered this till this point is, so we have covered this artificial intelligence. So in that we have seen that the system in this case we are trying to build a system who is going to behave like a human, and this we are going to achieve through your machine learning and your deep learning. So in case of your machine learning, basically this is the way to achieve your artificial intelligence. So here we are providing the we are providing the ability to a system to learn from the data without explicitly being programmed. And next, in case of your deep learning, so basically this is based upon the concept of your neural network, and it is basically the functioning is basically based upon how these cells in a brain are connected and how they are passing the information from one place to the another place, and based upon the combination of this, based upon this flow of the information, they are taking the decision. So based upon that, this deep learning algorithm is working. Next we have seen different like we are moving with your machine learning part. So next we have seen different branches of your machine learning. So we have seen this supervised learning. In your supervised learning we were having the classification and your regression. We have seen this unsupervised, and we have also seen your reinforcement learning. So in case of your supervised learning and in case of your unsupervised learning, in both the cases we are providing the data, but the difference is in case of a supervised learning we are not in case of supervised we are providing the class level information, and along with the data we are also providing the class level information. But in case of a unsupervised learning, here only we are providing the data, and the algorithm itself is going to find the pattern, and based upon that pattern it is going to perform the task. In case of your reinforcement learning, basically this is performing the shift of the fact of machine learning from your pattern identification or recognition to experience driven decision. Like as I said, in case of your, if we take the example of playing a game, so in that the machine we are going to explain what are the rules and regulation, means what are the rules for your game. But here we are not explaining how you are going to proceed, how we are going to play the game, but the machine through trial and error is going to formulate how should I move ahead in the game. So this is the basic concept in your machine this reinforcement learning. Now in more detail we are going to start with your supervised learning. Now in case, so as I said, in case of your supervised learning, what we are doing is here we are providing the data. Along with the data, here we are providing the data, here we are providing the data, and along with the data we are also providing the label. So like in this case we are having the three class label, this hexa, this square, and this triangle. So these three are your class label. So with respect to all nine instances, like here we are having the nine instances. So with respect to all nine instances, we will have one of the class label. For simplicity, it could be a multi, means for a one instances, so you can have a multiple class also. But for simplicity, we are only going to cover this multi-class classification. That means for your one instance, you will have only one class level. So for this, you will have one class. For this also, you will have one. For this also, this also, this also. That means for all 9 instances, you will have one class level. So once you are supplying this data, along with that data, you are supplying the label. So now you are going to make a model, and this making of the model is going to based upon your particular algorithm. Like here in this case, as we are going to cover this regression, and in the regression we are going to cover your linear regression. So here in our case, it is going to be a linear regression. So the linear regression, we are going to build that model. So till this part, it's your training phase. So you are supplying the data, and based upon that, you are building the model. If you are not satisfying if you are not satisfying with the performance of the model, you are going to retrain the model with some of these settings. So that also we will see how we are saying that we are not satisfied. We are again training the model. So that we will see in the coming slides. So for now, assume it using some process, we are going to adjust something. Here, this means parameter we are going to basically adjust. Okay. So once you are done with your training, so now you are going to perform the prediction. So in your prediction, you are simply going to take the model. So basically, in your model, basically what your model contain? Your model contain basically the parameters. No? So here you are going to supply the model, and next you are going to supply your test instance to your model. So now whatever information this model is having, based upon that processing, it is going to categorize like this is your square and this is your triangle. So this way your supervised learning is working. And if we compare this supervised learning with with your traditional model, so in your traditional model, just for the simplicity, I'm taking this example. In your traditional model, what you are doing is, like suppose this is a task. You are having two input. You want to perform the addition. So in your traditional way, in your traditional system, what you will do is you are going to supply this input, that is your 2 and 2, and you are going to supply the program, means how this addition is going to perform. We are going to take one value in the one variable, going to take another value in the second variable, then we are going to perform the summation and going to store it. So based upon that processing, you will have this output, and the output is your 4. So this we are doing in case of your traditional system. In case of machine learning system, what you are doing is, again the task is going to be the same. The task is performing the addition of your two number. So here you are going to give this input, that is your 2 and 2. You are here, you are going to supply your output, and the algorithm, this machine learning is going to give you a program. Okay, or you can say the model. Okay, so once you are having this model, so whatever input you are going to supply, that model is going to perform the addition. Like suppose here I'm supplying 5 and 3. For example, I am supplying 5 and 3. So what my model is going to give? My model is going to give me. So this is the difference with your traditional one and in your in your this machine learning. And as I said, in case of your supervised learning, we are again having two sub branches of your supervised learning. The first one is your classification, and next one is your regression. So in case of a classification, the task is to identify, means the task is to assign some discrete class label. Like it could be a categorical, it could be some number, it could be in any form. But the thing is, it is going to be a discrete one. But in case of a regression, here we are trying to build a function which is going to map our input into your output, and the output is going to be your continuous value. Like this, with example, like here the image classification, it's not going to be your continuous one. Here you will have either this class or that class. It's going to be a discrete one. Identify means basically identifying your fraud detection. So in that case, it is going to be yes or no, 0 or 1, positive or negative. In that case, it will, the class label is going to be in that form only. In case of a regression, like your market forecasting, like the prediction, population growth prediction. So all this is going in all these cases, the class label is basically some value, some real value it's going to be. So for this kind of the problem, we are having the regression, and for this kind of the for the discrete kind of the problem, we are having the classification. The thing is, in both the cases, we are going to train the model based upon the data and based upon the class label. The only the difference is here we are going to have the discrete, and here we are going to have the discrete, and here we are it is going to be your continuous one. So that we have already seen what the difference between your class level and the regression. Here you are having a clear cut boundary between the two classes. So if the instance is following in your one side, so it's going to be a part of this class. If the instance is following in the another side, so it's going to be a part of your another class. But in case of your regression, here we are trying to fit the line, and this line is itself a model. So if we want to predict some value, so how we are going to predict this value? So we will see, but just for the sake of completion, here I'm covering. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, like, suppose for this value of x, I want to predict the value. So I'm going to map this value in this line. So whatever value I'm going to get, that value is going to be the class label for this particular x. If you want to, if you want to get some another value, so again I'm going to map it. So this is going to be the class label with this particular value. So that we will see how this mapping, how we are drawing this line, how the adjustment of the line is affecting your performance, how we are quantifying this performance. So that all the things we are going to see in more detail. Let's start with the regression analysis. So as I said, in case of a regression analysis, here our objective is to predict the continuous value. So here you are supplying some data, like suppose if we take the example of house price prediction. So your data set will contain sets of the houses, and with each houses you will have the price. So this is your training model. So here you are going to supply that training data, and based upon the algorithm, it is going to provide this mapping. So that means what we are going to do here is, we are going to map this x into y, and this mapping we are going to do using your regression analysis. And the mapping basically we are representing in terms of this line. So this line is your model in case of your regression. If you want to predict a value, you need to project your input to this line, and whatever value you are going to get on that projected line, so this is going to be your class label. Okay. So now once you are done with this prediction, that means once you are done with your model, once you are able to draw this line and you are satisfied with that line, so now that line you are going to use it to predict the class label for your unknown instance. Like suppose I know if the value is 1, then my class is 10, 100, suppose, for example. If the value is 2, I know the class is 150, for example. But I don't know if my value is 1.5 or if my value is 2.5, then what is going to be my, so what is going to be my class value? So what I can do is, I'm going to supply this here. That means I'm going to supply this as my input, so it's going to be 1.5, and based upon this mapping, it is going to give me some value. For example, suppose if I'm taking it as a 125, just randomly I'm taking, and for this is case, suppose if I'm getting, suppose I am getting this 200, for example. So these are your class label instances, class label for your unknown instances. So as you can see, we've only having the knowledge about, if the instance is 1, then the class label is going to be, class value is going to be 100. If the instance is 2, if the instance is having value 2, then the class is going to be 150. But we don't know if the value is 1.5, then what will be the class value. If we also don't know if the value is 2.5, then what is going to be a class value. So this line basically providing us the value of your class, the class value for these unknown instances. So this way your regression algorithm is working. Now, let's see some of the examples related to your regression analysis. Like suppose if I want to predict the salary of the student. So, salary of the student is not going to be the discrete one. It's going to be the continuous one. So that means it's your regression problem. So in your regression problem, the first thing is you need to supply some previous data. So and each of the instances you are going to explain in terms of your features. So feature we can say it as basically features are helping us to describe your instance. Like suppose here if we take the example of the student, so for this case the feature could be performance in a course, the quality of the project, means what kind of the project the student have done, how many courses he has taken, what was the score in the exam. So these are basically features which are going to describe the student for this particular problem. But if you take the another problem, possibly it's going to be different. Like suppose if you take the example of like suppose if we want to predict the whole personality of the student, so in that case features are going to be your height, the features are going to be your weight, it's going to be your complexion, it's going to be your gender. So basically, for example, this I'm just randomly taking, so these are going to be your sets of features. So based upon what kind of the problem you are having, so based upon that your sets of the features is also going to be different. For the same person, the sets of the features are going to be different. Like here in this case, what we were taking the performance in a course, quality of the project, and how many courses the student have taken. Here there is no role of your height, weight, or complexion or gender. There is no role of it. So, but in if you want to just quantify the personality in the sense, in that case, possibly these features are going to play a role. Possibly these features is not going to contribute to that much. Okay. So, like the based upon the problem which you have, so based upon that problem, your the sets of the features are going to be different. Hope this part is clear. So now here in this case, we are going to supply these sets of the inputs, and now based upon this sets of the inputs, which is the previous history of the some sets of the students. Now based upon that sets of the inputs, we are going to build the model. And whenever a new person is coming, so now you are going to analyze that person based upon that model, and based upon that you are going to predict what will be the salary after completing the course. Next, coming to your stock price prediction, like here you can see we are not having any information related to your what was the performance, what was the course. Here the sets of the features are different, and that is related to your problem, like your recent history of the stock price, new event related to new commodities. So these are the features which are going to help you to describe your stock price, which is going to predict the price of your stock. Okay. So, so again, this is again, it's not going to be your categorical one or discrete one. It's again your continuous one. So it's also here also we can use a regression. So first thing is you need to identify what kind of the problem you are having. So based upon that kind of the problem, you have to choose the algorithm, whether it's going towards the discrete one, whether it's going to your going towards your regression. So that we need to identify at your first step. Next, the example is related to a tweet popularity. So here again, you can see that it's the sets of the features which has been used here is the number of followers, features related to your tweet hashtag which we have used, number of the past retweets. So these features are going to explain something about whether your tweet is going to be retweet or not. Okay, but if we are only saying it is going to be a retweet or not, so basically it's going to be categorical. But how many person are going to do it? So this is going to be a continuous problem. So the same problem here I want to cover is the same problem you can map it to your continuous one also, and same problem you can map it to your this categorical one also. Like suppose here how many people, so it's going to be the continuous. But if I'm saying it, the number of the people is going to be more than 30 or it's going to be below than 30. So here you have categorized, here you have summarized all the value into two parts. So now it's going to be a discrete one, either above or here below. So the same problem can be here. The main concept is the same problem can be mapped into your discrete and your continuous also. So first you have to be very clear what you want. Next, this regression analysis that we have already covered, like your regression analysis, we are going to build a model, and that model is basically going to predict the outcome in terms of your continuous value. Now, in your regression analysis, some of the terms which we are going to use widely, so that terms I am going to cover in detail, and then we will go for these simple linear and multiple and polynomial regression. So first, we are going to cover the elementary parts, elementary things which we are required for your regression analysis, and then we will go for your. Then we are going to combine all these elementary parts, and we will have a linear regression or multiple regression or polynomial regression in both that we will use for a problem. Okay. So in case of your regression analysis, we are going to have two kinds of variable, independent variable and the dependent variable. As the name suggests, independent, that means it is not means it's the means it is self sufficient. It is not going to depend upon others. In case of a dependent variable, there is some kind of dependency. This variable is dependent on the other. Now, which sets of the features we can say it as a dependent one, and which sets of the features we can say it as a independent one. Now, the sets of the features which are describing your instances, like suppose in the previous one, like here in this case, the performance in course, quality of the project, means performance in a particular course. So these are going to be independent features. These features are basically describing a student. So these are your independent features. And the class label, what the class label is, salary after completing the course. So salary after completing the course is going to depend upon these sets of the features. Okay. So the class label is going to be a dependent one, and the features which are describing your instance is going to be an independent one. Hope this independent and dependent part is clear. Dependent one is your class labels. First, just remember in this way. Dependent variables are the class label, and independent variable are those variable which are describing your instances. Okay. Now, in order to refer this independent variable majorly, I am going to use this x to denote your independent variable, and to denote your dependent variable, I am going to use y. So this x for your independent, and this y is for your dependent one. Now let's take a study of predicting house price. So what we want is, I wanted to predict the price of my house. So for that, I can't randomly say this is the house is going to be 1 lakh or 1 crore. So I can't say it. Okay. I need to perform some kind of the analysis. Based upon that analysis, I can, I can predict the price, actual price, or actual or near about the actual price of my uh, uh, price of my house. Okay. Now, these two terms we have already covered, like your independent one and dependent one. Now, here in this case, we are going to relate these two terms with this particular case study. Like our case study is predicting the house price. So, what we want to predict? We want to predict the price of your house. So, the price of your house is going to be a dependent variable that we are going to derive. Okay. And on what basis we are going to derive? Like we will have numbers of the features to describe the house, but as this is the starting point of the this regression, I'm going to cover the concept measure means I'm going to cover the concept with the one variable. Later we will extend it to the multiple variable. Okay. So now here we are taking one variable, and that one variable is the size of your house. Okay. So now this size of your house is your independent variable, because this is describing your house. And this price is dependent variable, because this is you are going to predict. So here in this case, 104K is going to be this size. It's your size of your house, and this is your independent variable. And 1500 square foot, it's your dependent variable. Sorry, this okay. Sorry. this $104, this is the price of your house, so this is going to be the dependent variable, and this 1500 is the square feet, that is the size of your house. So this 1500 is your independent variable, and this is your dependent variable. Okay. So what we are going to do is just we have covered this diagram we have already seen in the previous slides. So what we will do is we will collect some information related to my neighboring house, and that too with respect to each house. I will also know the price of your house, so that I am going to fed it. So that I am going to fed it to my regression model, and my regression model is going to create some kind of structure in the sense it is going to build this line, and this line is basically your model. So this we will refer as your hypothesis. So from now onward, I will refer this line as a hypothesis, or it's a regression line. I will refer these two terms to refer this line. Okay. So now once I am having this model, so whatever house size you are having, based upon that I can easily predict it. So like suppose the size of your house is suppose 2000 for example. Okay. So it's 2000 square foot. So I'm going to project it. So whatever value I'm going to get, so this is going to define the price of it. As I said in here, basically we are starting with your one instance. Sorry, we are starting with your one feature. So that's why it's your simple linear regression. It's going to be a part of your simple linear regression. But actually, we will have multiple instances. So that is going to be a part of your multiple regression. So when you are having one feature, that means when you are in order to describe your instance, when you are using only one feature, so it's going to be a simple linear regression. And when to describe the same instance, we are using the multiple features, so in that case it is going to be a multiple linear regression. So this simple linear regression, you can say it as a specialized case of your multiple. Like in that case, like suppose and I am using it to denote the number of your features. So if the n is equals to 1, so in that case it is going to be a simple linear regression, and if it is more than that, so then in that case it is going to be a multiple linear regression. So this is just the specialized case of your multiple linear regression. The simple is just the specialized case of your simple linear regression. This we have already covered what the simple linear regression is. So here we are just using one variable for explaining each and every concept, each and every instances. Okay, so that's why the term is your simple. Based upon your single instance, we are trying to predict your output. Okay, so this same problem we are going to go ahead. So like as I said, if I want to predict the price of the price of my house, so I'm going to collect all of the houses which are in my neighborhood. Like it's not going to be like I am at Jabalpur, and my house is in Jabalpur itself, and I'm predicting based upon the Delhi. So it's not going to work. In the nearby in my house, price is going to depend upon the location where it is actually located. So for that, I need to collect the information in the neighborhood also. It's not going to mean the price which is the price which we are having the Delhi. It's going to work in other way also. The price which we are having the Jabalpur is going to work in the Delhi. So that's why it's so here we are going to collect the houses which are in the neighborhood. So this like for each this also we have covered with respect to each house. We will have the price. We will have first we will have the size of your house, and with respect to that we will have a price of your house. So this is basically this structure we will have in case of your training instances. That means I know what is the value of my instance, and I also know what is the class value of my instance, and that too with respect to each and every instance. So this is defining your training instance. And when you are having the test instance, so in that case you will only have this information. I will only have what is the square. That means I know only the size of my house, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what the value of my the price of my house. that I know me want to predict. But in case of training instances, we will have both the information. Now, what in case of a regression analysis, what we are going to do is we are going to plot all these value in a two-dimensional space. So here the x-axis is going to be the size of your house, and this y-axis is going to be your price of the house. And each of these dot is basically representing the instances. Like here we are having the four instances, so that's why we are having the four dots, and each dot is representing one of the instance, one of the house is representing, and the placement is going to be based upon the combination of your x and y. So you, in case of a regression analysis, basically through the scatter plot we are going to model this relationship. Basically in a scatter plot, what we are doing, uh, in case of a scatter plot, basically we are trying to build the relationship between your x and y. Okay, so here also we are trying to build this. We are basically visualizing the relationship between your house of size of your house and your price of your house. So in case of a simple linear regression, what it is going to give me, it is going to give me this function. This function is going to help you to get to know the price of my house. Okay, and this function we are building based upon the existing instances. So like we are having four instances, so based upon this four instances only, I'm going to build this function. Now one another important thing is, this is the actual value of your instances. And once you are done with this once you are done with your mapping of input to your output, so now this model is representing your all, this line, or you can say hypothesis, is representing your whole instances. So instead of this is going to be the value according to this model. Now this is going to be the value according to this model. So let's see the next one. So like this was like suppose so how it is going to be. So instead of this value, it is going to be this value. So now according to this model, if I'm having this size, the price is going to be this. If I'm having this size, the price is going to be like this. So this model, the model is saying this. Actually, it is not the thing, but according to model, this is the thing. So we will see what this actually means. What is the role of this difference between the actual and the predictive? That we will see. Okay, so this point is clear. So basically, this is now going to be the predicted value. So as you can see, this is just a line. So the line could be represented in this form: y is equals to mx plus c. So here this c is basically representing your intercept, where where your line is going to cross your y. So this is representing your intercept, and this m is representing the slope, steepness of your this line. So this m is representing this part, and x is your input. So that in terms of your simple linear regression, that we can write it as, so this is your predicted value. So like predicted value, that means your the model which the value which your model is giving. So this is your this is the h theta x, this is your model, and this x is your input. Like here in this case, the input is my size of my house. So this x is going to be a size of my house, and this theta naught and theta 1 is representing the parameter of my simple linear regression. Like in your previous slides I have covered, based upon the training data, my model is going to adjust its parameter. So for your simple linear regression, the parameter is your theta naught and theta 1. So my model is going to adjust this theta naught and theta 1 based upon my training instances. Okay, so here objective is to find some good value of your theta naught and theta 1. So the placement is going to be the best one. I can't do anything in your x. I can't modify X because this is the information, this information which you are supplying. Based upon that information, you need to build the system. So only modification which I can do is in terms of your theta naught and your theta 1. Let's see how this if I'm having these value, then how it is going to predict the value. Like suppose the theta naught, suppose if you are having 100k and your theta 1 it's your 10k. So now if I'm supplying some value, so now suppose if I'm supplying some value here, so based upon this whole character, suppose if I'm supplying this, suppose if I'm supplying this 5, so it's going to be a 10 into 5 plus 100. So this is going to be this, based upon this size of my house. This is suppose, for example, it's the size of your house. Based upon this size, this whole calculation is going to give the price of the house. And this is with respect to one instance we are explaining. So till the point what we have covered is till the point we have covered this thing with respect to your one instance, but in actually you will have multiple instances. So just to denote it, like this was the equation for a simple linear regression. Just to denote, uh, with respect to your instances we are using this term. Means for your ith instances, the value is this one. Suppose this is your first one. So for your first instances, the value is this one. So for your second instances, the value will be the another one. For your third instances, the value is going to be another. So this here I is basically representing your instance number. Like suppose if you are having the 10 number of the instances, so in that case, the value of I is going to vary from 1 to 10. And if it is 1,000 or even in lakhs, so it's going to vary from 1 to 1. So this we have already seen, like in case of a simple linear regression. So basically, the model is going to give you this line, and this line is basically representing the relationship between your x and y. This is this just representing the relationship between x and y. And this theta naught is going to the intercept. So that also means we will have detailed discussion about this whole thing. But just for the completion, here I'm covering it quite fast. So here this theta naught is going to be this one, and theta 1 is basically representing the slope of your regression line, and this h theta is your hypothesis of your model. So be very clear about this, these all three terms. This h theta x is the hypothesis of your model, theta naught is representing your intercept, and theta 1 is representing the slope of your lines. And how these values are affecting the placement of the line, that we will see. Now the thing is, like, what let's first cover what this theta naught is. So this theta naught is basically representing that if I'm not supplying any information, in that case the value of my model will be theta naught. Like suppose if I'm not supplying, if I'm if the if I'm not supplying size of your house, for example, just it's not going to be the real case, but just for the example, here I'm not supplying the size of your house. So in that case, the price of your house is going to be a theta naught. Suppose the price is your 1,000. Suppose for example 1,000. So if I'm not supplying, if I'm not giving any, means if I'm not giving the size of your house, so in that case the price is going to be 1,000. But it's not going to be actually, just for the sake of just for sake of the explaining the things, I'm putting this example. Now next one is what the hope this theta naught is here. This is basically representing this point, this one. Next one is your theta 1. Theta 1 is basically representing the slope of the line. So basically it is representing this part. And what this part is representing, like if I'm changing my x by 1 unit, how much change I will observe in my y. If, like suppose here in this case, the unit is in terms of your square feet and dollar. So if I'm changing the size of my house, if I'm changing the size of my house, then how much change I will have in the price of my house. So if I'm changing my size of the house with 1 square foot, then how much change I will observe in the dollar. So this is represented with your theta. Theta naught is representing this part. Intercept means where this line is going to cross, and theta 1 is representing the slope of the line. That means if I'm changing x with this much amount, then how much change I will have in my y. So in this case, it's going to be the, if I'm changing the size of the house, then how much change I will observe in the price of my house. So this estimation process, just summarizing it all the things. So you are having this regression line. You don't know the value of your theta naught, theta one. As one more important thing here is the value of your theta is going to depend upon how many features you are having. Like suppose here in this case, we are considering only one feature. The number of thetas are 2. But if we are having 4 features, in that case the number of theta is going to be 4 plus 1. So it's always be plus 1, plus 1. Like if it's your n, so the number of theta is going to be n plus 1. That means you need to optimize n plus 1 value. Okay. Now next one is the now initially we don't know the value of your theta naught and theta 1, and that too we are going to adjust based upon your sample data. So based upon that sample data, we have some estimated value of your theta naught and theta 1. Again, if you are not satisfied with this, so again you are going to readjust this value, and again you are going to check the performance. If you are satisfied with your performance, then you will continue. Otherwise you will readjust the value of your theta. So this whole process will be continued till your criteria is not satisfied. So what our goal in case of your this regression? So here our goal is to fit our model in a data so well that it should able to represent my instances very well. So basically, what the meaning is, I want to place my data at a in a place where it is able to cover my most of the instances. Like let's cover this for example. Like suppose we are having food representations. Suppose just randomly I am taking. Same we are doing here. Just see it like each of the plots are representing the same chain data set. Although it's not looking, but assume it uh, all are representing the same kind of same data set. Now for the same data set, we can have the number of the we can have a number of the lines. So it could be means this is also one of the line. This is also one of the line. This is also one of the line, and this is also one of the line. Okay. So now for the same data set, we are having different lines. So now how to know which line is the best suited for my problem? So the main objective is to fit this line in such a way that it should able to cover your instances. Able to cover, that means able to represent that instance. The covering means able to represent that instances. So here you can see in that case it is not able to. It's it's very means it's not able to cover the instances very well. Just a constant assumption is there. That means I am not utilizing the information which is present in my data. I'm simply saying that I'm going to fix it as 0. 0.5. I'm not going to adjust anything. So this concept is represented here. Somehow I'm adjusting it, but also in that case it is not also not the well represented. Like actual is this one, but I'm predicting this. Actual is this one, I'm predicting this. Actual is this one, I'm predicting this. The same is here also. Actual is this one, but I'm predicting this. Actual is this one, but I'm predicting this. So this much error you have. So basically, this difference is representing your error. So this also you will see what this actually is. So this is basically representing. But here in this case, it is able to cover most of the instances. So it is able to present my data very well. But the problem is it is going to lead to your overfitting problem. So when we will cover this model evaluation part, so we will cover this overfitting, underfitting in more detail. But for now, if you tightly fit your data, tightly fit your model to the particular given situation, possibly it is not going to work for your unknown instances. Like in the case, suppose we are having three kinds of student. So one student is not reading at all. So whatever question you are going to give, whatever he knows, he is going to write. So this is one kind of student. In the another kind, he is going to revise the notes, and based upon that, the person is going to answer. The student is going to answer. This is the second. In the third one, the student is going to read, going to memorize each and every detail which is there in your notes, even comma, full stop, exclamation mark, all the things he is going to memorize. So this is the third kind of student. So in your first, it is not going to behave very well. In this case, it is going to behave well if you are going to give the straightforward question. So he is going to write each and every question, answer very nicely. He is going to write. But if you are modifying the question, so possibly he is not going to work. Means this student is not going to write. But the student who has thoroughly understand the concept, and based upon that concept, he is going to write some, like he is not writing each and everything with the commas, exclamation marks. Okay, he because he has not memorized it, he has learned what was there in the notes. So that student is going to perform by very well. Even uh, even the uh, so even the teacher is giving some new questions, so in that case also he is having the concept. So based upon the concept, somehow it is the student is going to work. So this three kind of the student is represented. The first, not learning anything. This one, third one, learning each and everything. And these two we can consider as your the student who is actually understanding the problem, based upon that understanding dealing with. Okay, so these three conditions are basically represented. This is your underfitting problem, and this is your overfitting problem, and this is just fit. So here our objective is not to fit very tightly, but it should able to cover most of the concepts. So this is our objective. So that we are going to basically using this concept, using this knowledge, we are going to adjust the parameters. Okay, so that we are in case of your regression analysis. So that we have already covered. Like this is this part is representing the actual one, and this is presenting your predictive one. So this y, what is this representing? It is representing the class label of your ith instance, because for representation of the class label we were using this symbol y. Okay, so this with respect to xi, this with respect to this xi, we are having this class label. And what this value is representing, this value is representing your predicted class level. And predicted class, we are for your prediction, we are using h theta xi. Okay, the same is going to be here. Like this is your actual class label. Like we can write it as your g, just representing the another instance. So this is representing your another instance with your actual class value, and this is your predicted. Because each and every instances which are there in this space, all instances are only going to be represented with this model. So even if you remove this model, sorry, if you remove this instances, this model will be there. So if you want to know, so just project it, you will have the information. Although it's not going to be that much accurate, but we are moving ahead with that model. That we have already covered. Okay. Now, how to define, like in case of a regression analysis, how to define how my model is behaving. So basically, we are defining in terms of how the placement of this, where the placement of this line is. Now, based upon this placement, you will have this error. If you are placing it somewhere here, suppose if you are placing it somewhere here, uh, so if you are placing it somewhere here, so error will be very large. Like it's going to be this much error you will have. This whole is representing this much error you will have. If you are representing in this way, if you are representing in this way, the error will be quite lesser than the previous one, but still there will be error. This is going to be represented. Okay. And if you are taking this third case, so even in that case also there is error, but it is comparatively lesser than the previous one. Okay. Now how we are defining this error? So basically I am going to consider the difference between this yi, that is your actual class label, and the difference of your predicted one. So it's just the difference between the actual one and the predicted one. Both are representing the same thing. In the previous one, in one of the cases we are going to have the positive value, in the another cases we are going to have the negative value. So but we are going to take the absolute value. So either you consider this form or you consider this form, it's not going to affect you, because we are going to take either the square form or we are going to take the absolute value. So in both the cases we are going to get the same result. So we can move with this notation also, and we can move with this notation also. The only thing in both the notations, what we are considering, how much difference you are having in your predicted one and your actual one. So this we are covering. So this concept also we have covered, like if it is tightly fitting to your data, so there will be if it is tightly fitting to your data, so there will be no difference. If it is tightly fitting to your data, so there will be very lesser. Like for this point only you are having the error. For this point only you are having the error. But for rest of the point you are not having the error. But here in this case you will have error. But most of the instances you are having the error, because mm, I guess none of your instances is exactly following into this part. So we will see whether we need to go with this one, or whether we need to go with this one or this one or this one, with which combination we need to go, so that we will see. So should I continue, or we can start with the next 5:30 session? I'm okay with both of them. So can we continue or shift it to 5:30 plus? So should I continue, or
Actually, ma'am, the time is only for 1 hours.
okay?
So if you want to continue, then no
Because
problem.
the same concept means the rest of the concept which we are having is the going to be next frame of module. So we can continue with
Okay,
5:30
okay,
also.
okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks. Thank you so much. I think it's a very good start in our workshop. And I think our students learning so much new things about machine learning. Now we will, now definitely our students has learned new things yet, and many more to come on next session. Students, please come at 5:30 p.m. for next exciting session. Please be on time so that nothing will be missed by you. Thank you. Thanks a lot to everyone. We are meeting on next session at 5:30 p.m. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.